the states have not begun to, not any state that I know, begun to use their money on Shopee to do anything that anybody hears about.
And they've been getting this money for years.
Since, not for a while, yeah, since last year when the subsidy, since last year. You know, it started after the removal of the partial removal. Yeah. So the states, what's the media and people who write you, ask the states and the local governments, what are you doing with your Shopee money? The federal government is the one spending its money. In 2012, 180 billion was allocated to the federal government, out of which it spent about 72 billion because it was just the beginning. It rolled in at 3 billion to 180 this year. So in Shopee Federal, you have about 273 billion for work in these areas of intervention. As I speak to you, about 104 billion has been spent. Over 93 billion is outstanding for the rest of the year.
Just quickly, I want you to react to this. We know that Shopee was also at the National Assembly recently to talk about budgeting, funding for the programs. And they were told by members of the National Assembly that even though their money was cut initially, that money has been restored. We would just want you to confirm that indeed that money was restored to Shopee.
Now listen, that money is only 18 billion. I keep saying it. It's only 18 billion that was supposed to go to communities, social welfare, women, youth empowerment, that was appropriated to other things. Now, the Senate said they have restored it. The chairman of Shopee, Dr. Christopher Kolode, just after that meeting, called the director of budget, Dr. Okogu, and say, please confirm that this money has been restored the way it ought to be. And Dr. Okogu said no. So as I speak to you, the information we have from the director of budget is that the money has not been restored. But as for me,
to the best of your knowledge, yes, it is 18 billion. You might say that that is a tiny fraction of the 200, of over 200 billion that Shopee has. But it was important enough for Shopee to go to the National Assembly and say, look, you cut 18 billion for this very critical service. Because, you know, impressions matter. At the bottom level, even though you're saying that it's only about employment, just about 10,000 naira that they're supposed to give to people. For the ordinary person who has no job, that possibly might be the only thing that they will feel from the federal government Shopee program. So the implementation of that particular program at the bottom level, making sure that it is non-partisan, is very important.
I agree with you. I haven't in any way denigrated that job. I was only saying that when people say Shopee has no money, or you know, some of the things you read, I want to put it in that context, that we're speaking about 18 billion out of 273, and that also that I have been told that the money has not been restored. It's important. The federal government decided, out of its own feeling of responsibility to citizens, that after we've withdrawn this money, we want to cushion the effect. And to cushion the effect, we need to do do something for maternal and child health care area where Nigeria has been having a problem. Do something to employ men and young men and women, create jobs. And they have lined out several ways the government is creating jobs through Shopee. There's this one we're speaking about, CSWYE, Community Social Women Youth Empowerment. There is the vocational training. There is the public works by FEMA, where they're also employing people who work with FEMA to patch the roads. Which is
the most obvious one that we've seen here in Lagos. I mean, because we're always seeing them patch Third Mainland Bridge at least, and they put the Shopee
on God that a journalist is accepting. I'm coming. It's unusual for journalists to accept that.
At least I have seen that.
God will bless you.
I saw it on statement, but it's about patching. It's not a major infrastructure development work.
The major infrastructure development is going on the eastward. You know, part of the problem.
I wanted to ask you on that. Sorry, because we have so many comments here concerning that road. So now that you're here, let's bring it on.
Which you say is that 86%. Sorry, Suleiman, I will let you finish. I just want to confirm that is that 86% completion, right? Of the east-west road.
Yes, 86%. As I speak with you.
Suleiman, please go ahead.
Well, they disagree with you. Well, let me use the word by Irosomoye. He says it's not correct that you have done 86% of that road. He said he wants to know who exactly is in charge. Minister of Works claims they are doing something on the road. Minister of Niger Delta, the same thing. NDDC, and now another is saying even Bayelsa state government claims they are also doing something on that road. So
the east-west road, sir, is a contract awarded by the federal, by the Ministry of Niger Delta. Of course, it was awarded by the Ministry of Works before the Niger Delta was, because this was in 2006. That was when the contract was awarded. It was supposed to be completed by 2009, 2010. But the problem of our budgeting process is that you give a contract for a road that will be 30 billion. And every year, you want the road finished in 3-5 years. But every year, allocate 2 billion to that road. Now, by simple arithmetic, 2 billion a year will take 15 years to finish a road where there's 30 billion budget. And that's what's been happening in our roads. And I think that's the wisdom of the federal government this time. They say, okay, this money, let's invest it in specific roads. We're not going to throw it into bits, you know, the way National Assembly will you know, divide the money, so that every constituency feels that their representatives are working. So they split it. That's what happens. So federal government has said, okay, we're going to take just few roads. We'll take the East-West Road. We'll take the Kano-Meduguri Road. We'll take the Abuja-Abaji-Lokoja Road.
Leaving out the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway?
No, because Lagos-Ibadan at that time had been as a PPP project. Right now, federal government has taken it back.
And it's still not done?
No, but it's been done. If you go to, have you traveled on this road between here and Shagamu in the last 1-2 weeks?
No, we'll go from the Lagos end almost to the...
I've been to Ibadan. I was in Ibadan just last weekend. Yeah, what I noticed was that, you know, Julius Berger was along the road.
You're a very truthful person.
I will be truthful because we have to be factually what we do.
Sure, that's the point.
But we also remember that very recently, you know, I think they asked that remedial work be done on the road, because if we had to wait for them to actually start work on the road, there might be no road for them to even add to. You know, at this particular rate. So
but this Lagos end is very poor.
Anyway, exactly, very poor. So they have to do some remedial work.
I'm not from the Ministry of Works. I'm just a citizen of Nigeria, a very patriotic national builder.
Which we all are too.
Praise God. So that's what I'm saying. That information I'm giving you, I'm not supposed to be defending Ministry of Works. The federal government has given this job, the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, to 2 contractors, Julius Berger, and I think, is it RCC, one other company. And they are mobilizing. If it takes a lot to mobilize contractors to site, to do all the studies, the calculations, the financing, to bring equipment, sincerely takes effort and time. But I think Julius Berger has already started doing some work, because I passed that road the other day after the camp. I saw some work. They are doing something on the shoulders. I think they want to create a place so that they can divert traffic.
But that is not Shopee, right?
It's not Shopee. So I was talking about the roads that Shopee is doing. And I was going to talk about the Bini-Ore Shagamu Road. It's Shopee. The Enugu or Onisha Enugu is Shopee. The second Niger bridge is Shopee. Local bridge is Shopee.
So then how do we differentiate the works that the ministries and parastatals also have done normally without necessarily putting Shopee on it? Because it would seem that there's some, you know, reason to justify the existence of Shopee, and so we must put Shopee on almost everything that ordinarily should have been done.
No, the issues, I gave you this example. If, take for example, the East-West Road. This year, where Shopee is putting 42 billion on the East-West Road. The budget to the East-West Road is about 12 billion. The budget or something like that. Now, what we've decided to do is that Shopee takes specific segment of the road and say, we will do this. Spend this your 12 billion in this area. We'll spend the 42 billion in the other area.
So you're spending over triple what for the road.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's intervention. This is a short-term intervention. And this will end next year. By 2014, that intervention will have been over because the road will have been completed.
What about monitoring? How does Shopee monitor? Because I see comments coming through from Tona, who says he traveled that Pt.2 to Warri Road on Saturday, and he says the road is bad.
Well, certain parts of the road will be bad. The road is not completed. He should have said also the parts of the road. If he traveled, he should tell me between Sapele and Warri, the 2 roads, the 2 sides of the road are clear, marked, clean. And segments are like that. When you're walking a road, some parts will be bad, some parts will be good. It is standard until you complete the road. And considering also when they started this road, 2006, some of the places they did then would have even gone bad now. Because this method of spreading budgets to be able to accommodate everything is a major problem for us. Now, talking about monitoring, that's what we do. Shopee monitors three methods. First is that there are field visits by members of Shopee. Yesterday, I undertook a visit to Third Mainland Bridge, to Apapa on the Fema side, and Badagry Road. We looked at what was going on there, and to be sure that people are working according to schedule, In doing that, we also go with our experts from Shopee. We have experts who are technical people. Thirdly, we also send independent consultants to cross-check, especially when IPCs have been raised. When they raise money, IPC, in which case certificate that the job has been completed, we don't take it. We go and investigate, do measurements. Because there are certain things which Shopee is bringing to management of projects in Nigeria. First is that you get value for money. Two is that there is speed in the delivery of work. And those things are inbuilt into the operational modalities of Shopee. In our interactions with contractors and the PIU, because we have what we call project implementation units, which are set up from the ministries. And we're impacting this new culture of ensuring that you get value for money and there is speed, because those are two things. Sometimes people just act as if we have the whole time in the world to do certain things. Sometimes people are not concerned about the efficiency of a project implementation. Those two, plus some level of probity and accountability. These things were, training the PIUs, so that when the Shopee project is over and we go home, the ministry people who are in the PIU will have been somehow affected.
How soon will that be when you say
you go home?
How soon will it be going home? How soon will it be over?
Well, I wouldn't know, but I don't think the Shopee is not a constitutional provision. So it's an ad hoc thing government has said. It's interventionist. And I believe it won't last forever.
Just quickly, the 18 billion that hasn't been released, yes, you say it's an insignificant fraction.
Yeah.
But, where do you think the money is hanging? If the Senate committee has told you that we have restored that money back to your budget, you've called the budget office and they've said no, no such thing has been done. Where do you think that, whose side of the story are you to believe?
No, the 18 billion was allocated to certain projects in the budget, but not to this community and social youth employment. It was put in other areas. In fact, they were put on some road work, which we said shouldn't be, because this is where that money ought to be. So right now, the Shopee leadership is making effort to reconcile these two views between the Senate committee and the director of budget. It's something they are looking at and will believe, and also the presidency is aware of this issue. It was part of the reason the government returned the budget. It was one of those things that led to that budget going back. So effort is being made, but meanwhile, things are being done to make sure that that project does not suffer. Some arrangements are being made internally to maintain the workers, the people who have been employed, but that is until this is resolved. I believe it will be resolved so that the young men and women who are employed will not be suddenly sent home without pay.
All right, for those who are asking that, where can they get the figures that states that Shopee gives to the state? I think we'll push it on to them much later because we're out of time now. So don't worry, we'll find a way to get it across to you or for those watching. But we have to thank you for coming on. Mazi Sam Ohuabunwa is the president, Nigerian American Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you for giving me a chance to talk.
We'll return after this break.